Hello friends, I am Ashok Kumar and today we'll have session on quality of service in 5G network. Content of the presentation today will be PDU session and quality of service flow, 5G quality of service architecture, comparison with 4G in respect of quality of service, and then we'll talk about default QoS flow, and then GBR QoS flow, guaranteed bitrate QoS flow. Then we'll talk about how QoS rules are constructed, QoS profiles are constructed, and SDF templates are constructed. And then we'll talk about QoS flow in a downlink directions, how QoS flows are mapped and assigned. And then we'll talk about how QoS flow and the network slice are taken care. And then we'll talk about QoS types, different types of QoS, and the associated parameters and characteristics. Then we'll talk about alternate QoS profile, and finally we will look at 5QI characteristics. So if you look at this diagram, we had discussed this during our session on 5G core and also 5G introduction. So let me quickly introduce to the different network elements. So we have UE, user equipment, that is mobile. Then we have base station, it is called G node B in case of 5G. And then we have a user plane function through which all the data traffic passes up to the data network. And then we have session management function which manages the session of the PDU session, which we'll talk about. And AMF is the core access and mobility functions for controlling the mobility and access of the UE. And UDM is unified data management, which contains all the subscriber profile and also profile of a data network. And PCF is policy control functions. So now let us look at the PDU session. So the series of connections from UE to Z node B to UPF and then finally to data network is called protocol data unit session in 5G, and all the data traffic flows through the PDU session. Now if you look at the PDU session, so PDU sessions are unique to the device, and we have to think about how different kind of quality of service will be managed for different applications or different requirements. So the PDU session will have QoS flow. So a particular type of traffic requiring a set of QoS quality of service like latency, or whether it's a guaranteed bit rate or it is a non-guaranteed bit rate, or what is the latency, is defined by a particular QoS flow ID. So it will contain the QoS flow ID. So the PDU session, the one PDU session created for an UE may contain one or more QoS flow ID. So when UE establishes a connection, it is assigned a default QoS flow, and the internet traffic or the service data flows will pass on through this QoS flow. And this is a default QoS flow. That means there's no specific QoS requirement. On the best effort basis, the quality of service will be provided. But in case UE requires a guaranteed bit rate or any other kind of QoS, so then within the same PDU sessions there could be n number of QoS flow requiring different QoS value based on latency, priority, or the data rate will be created. So the UE would have n number of QoS flow within the same PDU session. So the PDU session can be established, can be modified, or can be removed basis of a QoS requirement in the user plane traffic. So now let us talk about 5G QoS architecture. So there are four types of QoS flow. So QoS flow with guaranteed bitrate, QoS flow with non-guaranteed bitrate, delay critical guaranteed bitrate, and reflective quality of service. So we'll talk about these later in the slides. And if you look at this diagram, so it has three parts. One is the UE, that is the mobile, and then you have G node B, which is your access network, and then you have user plane functions, and finally UPF gets connected to any kind of data network on N6 interface. So if you look at this diagram, this outer rectangle is a PDU session. So within the PDU session, there are certain radio bearers which are created by the G node B, and onto those radio bearer different quality of service flows are assigned. So if you look at diagram, so there are two radio bearer assigned. In this radio bearer there are two QoS flow, and in this radio bearer there is a one QoS flow. So that means radio bearer can contain one or more QoS flow. But if you just look at this diagram between G node B and user plane function, there is a single NGU tunnel between G node B and UPF. But within the tunnel, the QoS flows, different QoS flows are identified and marked, so that suppose in case of a download direction traffic, these QoS flow coming from UPF into the NGU tunnel is correctly mapped to a particular radio bearer. So that is a mapping which is available. So as I explained, this diagram shows one PDU session. The outer rectangular box represents one PDU session between UE, Z node B, and UPF. Within the PDU session, you can see there are many data radio bearers. So between UE and G node B, there are three data radio bearers, and within the data radio bearers there are quality of service flows. For example, in this DRB there is one QoS flows 1, and then within this second DRB you have two QoS flow, say QoS flow 2 and 3, and the third DRB contains one QoS flow 4. So within the PDU session there can be many data radio bearers, and within the data radio bearers there could be one or more than one QoS flow. This is between UE and G node B. But from G node B to UPF there is a single tunnel that is called N3 GTPU tunnel. So GTP is GPRS tunnel protocol, and DRB is dedicated radio bearer, or sometime we call it data radio bearer on the radio side. So this is a common tunnel. So here it is a dedicated DRBs, but here it is a common tunnel, and of course there will be a mapping of a particular quality of service flow. So this is a common tunnel, and this is a dedicated DRB for each flow. So let us discuss the quality of service, how it is implemented in 4G LTE and how it is in 5G network. So this table is a comparison between the 5G and 4G LTE. So the quality of service identifier in 5G is 5G quality of service identifier, that is 5QI, whereas in 4G LTE it is quality class indicator QCI. We will discuss this in detail later in the slide. And then IP flows is called QoS flow in 5G and EPS bearer in 4G. And the flow identifier in 5G is called QoS flow ID, QFI, whereas it is called EPS bearer ID in 4G. In 5G, optionally it supports reflective QoS, which will be discussed, which we'll discuss in later in the slide. So reflective QoS indicator, that is RQI, is supported in 5G, which was not available in case of 4G. Now let us look at this diagram. So this left side diagram is 4G, where you have EPS bearer starting from UE to Z node B to S gateway to P gateway, and these are ERAB, etc. Let's discuss the 5G, how quality of service flows work. So if you look at this diagram, in downlink direction, the user plane function maps the data packets which is coming from applications based on the SDF, service data flow classification rule, which is provided by SMF to UPF. And then in downlink direction, the G node B maps a particular quality of service flow to data radio bearer, so DRBs. And in uplink direction, the UE maps a packet to QoS flow to data radio bearer based on QoS rule, which is gets from AMF via or maybe through the reflective QoS. Let us discuss about how QoS flow is assigned. So when UE is registered onto the network, it initiates a PDU session establishment request to AMF through G node B. So when PDU session is established for UE, it is established along with a default QoS flow. So if you look at this diagram and UE1, so once UE1 is registered onto the network, it is assigned a default QoS flow shown here in the green color. And the default QoS flow is always non-guaranteed bit rate. And now the UE1 can use this for all the data traffic, which is kind of internet traffic where there's no specific QoS requirement, and the data access is based on the quality of service is based on best effort basis. Similarly, if you look at UE2 or UE3, after registrations, they are assigned a PDU session. A PDU session is established with a default QoS flow, that is non-GBR QoS flow. Now let us assume that UE1 is a 5G mobile phone, and onto the 5G mobile phone there are many apps open. 4 tabs are open for different websites, or maybe YouTube, or maybe some other applications onto the browser. So every such tab will be a kind of a SDF, service data flow. So within, and since these are on internet and the browser and do not require a specific quality of service, so these SDF are assigned or will be part of the same default QoS flow, which is on best effort basis. So now let us assume that UE1 want to use a video conference service. So what UE will do is send a signal onto the default QoS flow to the application function of a video conferencing system that it requires a guaranteed bitrate QoS flow to take care of video conference service. Now the application function will request a guaranteed bitrate QoS flow to the PCF. So application function will be outside the core network and connected onto the NEF interface, network exposure function interface. So it will trigger PCF. So what PCF will do is create a rule, a PCC rule, and send it to SMF, because SMF is responsible for creation, modification, or termination of a PDU session or a quality of service flow within the PDU session. So now that SMF has got a PCC rule, so it has got two options: either to modify one existing QoS flow to take care of the required QoS flow for the video conference service, or create a new QoS flow for the video conference service. In case of UE, since we had only a non-GBR default QoS flow and it was not having any GBR flow, so that means SMF will create a new QoS flow for UE1. So here it is shown in this pink color. So pink color is a guaranteed bitrate QoS flow within this particular dedicated radio bearer and the NGU tunnel. So if you look at this diagram, you have dedicated radio bearers for guaranteed bitrate, wherein say it is QoFi 101, quality of service ID, quality of service flow ID as 101, which is say guaranteed bitrate QoS flow. So now the video conferencing service would be using this QoS flow of guaranteed bitrate. Now suppose parallelly UE1 want to use a service, say gaming or maybe some other service. So it will again indicate the application function that it want to use the gaming service, and then that particular application server will again tell PCF to establish required QoS for gaming in addition to video conference which UE1 is having. So on the same SMF will finally what it will do, if say quality of service requirement for video conferencing and the gaming is same, then what it will do is that it will create another SDF, service data flow, within the same QoS flow, same guaranteed bitrate flow, so that two SDFs, two service, one service is video conferencing, another service is gaming, is flowing onto the same quality of service flow ID 101 in this case. Now let's go into a bit detail of PDU session and how QoS flow is assigned. So as I explained that on the request of UE, the application functions signals PCF, policy control function, to assign a particular quality of service for a particular service. So that PCF sends PCC rule to SMF, and now SMF construct different QoS, so it kind of sends SDF template to user plane functions, which will contain various quality of service parameter like quality of service flow ID, PDR, if it is applicable, then reflective QoS, etc. The SMF will also send QoS profile to Z node B that will also contain parameters like QFI, quality of service flow ID, and then what is UE, Umber or PDU session type, 5QI's value, etc. To G node B, and SMF will also send the QoS rule to UE, packet filter, and what is the QFI, what is the data network name, etc. Will be sent to UE, and based on all these parameters, the different QoS flow assignment happens. So if you look at this diagram, this is one PDU session, and this in one PDU session you have two QoS flow 1 and QoS flow 2. So there is a dedicated radio bearer. Within that radio bearer you have two QoS flow, and in each QoS flow there are SDF. For example, in QoS flow 1 there is one SDF, so only one service is being supported in QoS flow 1, and in QoS flow 2 there are two service data flows, so two different service data having same QoS are mapped here. So let us discuss a case where in the downlink directions, so there are multiple applications being used by a UE. So in downlink traffic, how it will flow. So let us assume that from an applications or from different applications, a lot of IP flows are coming to user plane functions. As I'm saying, it's a downlink direction. So from the application, it is coming to the UPF. Now, as I had explained, that the UPF has got SDF template from SMF, session management function. So now UPF knows that a particular IP flow has to be assigned which SDF template. So it does the kind of a filtering wherein it filters different IP flows, and then they put together and apply a particular service data flow. So what is service data flow? As I explained that every service is identified, or the data is identified as a SDF, service data flow. So for example, if it is a video conference, then it may be a service data flow 1. If it is gaming, it could be SDF2. If it is normal internet, maybe SDF3. So, and every SDF will require a certain kind of quality of certain level of quality of service requirement. So the SDF template which UPF has got from SMF, so that template is applied onto the packets after the necessary filtering by the UPF. So now here you see there are SDF1, SDF2, SDF3 and SDF4. So if you look at SDF1 and SDF2, they are kind of mapped to QFI 6, quality of service flow 6. So 1 and 2 are kind of having same quality of service requirement. So they are mapped to QFI 6, which is a non-guaranteed bitrate QoS flow. And then SDF3, which may be a video conferencing service or any other service which is assigned a quality of service ID 4, which is a GBR, guaranteed bit rate. Similarly, SDF4 is also requiring GBR QFI, so it is assigned a QFI 3. So if you look at this particular diagram, so from this place to this place, it is your PDU session. So orange color area from here to here, it is a PDU session. So within the PDU session, you have data radio bearer between UE and G node B. And from G node B to UPF, you have a single tunnel. However, those quality of flows are identified separately within the tunnel, and it is mapped to a particular data radio bearer, where you see that there are two data radio bearers. So one data radio bearer is this, which is a non ZVR kind of quality of service flow, and which is mapped to this particular data radio bearer. And the second data radio bearer is carrying these both QFI3 and QFI4, and this way the traffic in download directions is taken care. The quality of service of download traffic is taken care. If you recall our presentation, our session on 5G core and 5G introductions, we had talked about network slicing in 5G. So 5G network can have multiple slices to support different service requirement. For example, it may have a slice to support quality of service required for enhanced mobile broadband. It may have another slice to support quality of service requirement of massive machine type communications, MMTC. It may have another slice to support URLLC kind of services, ultra reliable low latency kind of services, such as autonomous car. So the 5G network will have different slices, and as we had explained earlier, that a particular UE may connect to 8 number of such slices at a time. So here if you look at this diagram, it indicates that a particular slice, say slice 1, will have a QoS flow ID 1, and that kind of quality of service will be assigned. Similarly, this shows a second kind of QoS flow. So within this slice you have QoS flow A and QoS flow B, and within this slice 2 you have QoS flow C. And in 5G it is end to end, including the backhaul in 5G core and onto the radio. So end to end quality of service flows are maintained. Let us discuss now the QoS flow type and associated QoS flow parameters. So as we had discussed, that there can be a GBR QoS flow, that is guaranteed bitrate QoS flow. There may be a non-guaranteed bitrate QoS flow, NGBR flow. So both type of GBRs and non-GBRs flow will have certain QoS flow parameters, and these parameters are: for non-GBR it is 5QI, ARP and RQA. So 5QI is 5G QoS identifier, and ARP is allocation and retention priority, and RQA is a reflective QoS attribute. In case of GBR flow, guaranteed bitrate flow, in addition to 5QI, ARP and RQA, it will have GFBR, MFBR, notification control, and maximum packet loss rate. So GFBR is guaranteed flow bitrate, and MFBR is maximum flow bitrate. And now this 5QI, 5G QoS identifier, will have these parameters. That is, first one is resource type, which is whether it is a guaranteed bitrate GBR or non-guaranteed bitrate non-GBR, or it is a delay critical GBR. And then it will have a default priority level, and you have PDB, which is packet delay budget. So how much maximum delay can be accepted for a particular 5QI value is given by PDB. Then you have PER. So PER is packet error rate. So how much error can be allowed into for a particular QoS flow. And then you have default maximum data burst volume, which is used for critical GBR, and then default averaging window. So default averaging window is a time in which all these parameters are averaged out. So these all are average parameters within the averaging window. So now let us discuss these parameters in bit detail. So let's first talk about ARP, allocation and retention priority. So let us take an example that in a particular uh, QoS flow or particular PDU sessions, there are more than one QoS flow running, and because of the crunch or the constraint onto the say radio bearer or any other resources, uh, both the QoS flow cannot be supported. So which one to retain and which one to drop is actually decided by ARP, allocation and retention priority. So based on ARP value, a particular QoS flow can be dropped and the other QoS flow having a higher ARP value will be retained. Now let us talk about RQA, reflective QoS attribute. So what happens is that uh, in case of a non-GBR flow uh, and also in GBR flow, reflective QoS is the QoS flow mapping by the UE based on the QoS flow which is coming onto the downlink direction up to the UE. So UE drives those QoS flow parameters from the downlink and applies onto the uplink. So it doesn't require kind of QoS rule from SMF which comes through AMF 1N1 interface. So it applies if it supports. So it is an optional whether a particular UE or particular network supports reflective QoS. In case it supports, it can apply reflective QoS. And then let me discuss about notification control. So notification control is nothing but suppose there are many quality of service flow already established within a PDU session, and in case the G node B is not able to maintain a particular QoS flow, then it will notify that to the core network that it is not able to maintain the particular quality of service. And then suppose after some time network become normal and it is able to support the QoS flow assigned, so again it will send a notification to the core that yes, it has again started supporting the QoS flow. So this information when goes to the core may be used for charging, etc. So this is what a notification control is. And let us talk about some of the 5QI parameters like default priority level. So when the rules are say sent to UE to apply a particular QoS flow, a particular QoS flow onto the packets which is going towards uplink direction. So which rule is to apply first and which rule has to be applied next is decided by the default priority level of that particular rule. So this is how the rules are applied by the UE. In 5G, there is also a concept of alternative QoS profile. Uh, and it is optional in case of a guaranteed bitrate QoS flow where notification control is enabled. So the SMF normally provides alternate QoS profile to ngRAN. So what happens that in case a particular QoS flow is not able to be maintained by ngRAN, then it sends a notification to the core network that, or to the SMF in the core network, that a particular quality of service is not getting fulfilled, and currently the alternate QoS profile which was provided by SMF to the G node B is being provided. And when ngRAN again is able to provide uh, the required QoS flow, then it sends a notification that it has started providing the required QoS flow. And in case it is not able to provide the required QoS flow and also the alternative QoS flow, so that information is also sent by ngRAN to SMF. So this is how alternative QoS profile works in 5G. So in the previous slide, we have already discussed the 5QI characteristics, which is resource type, whether it's GBR or delay critical GBR or non-GBR, priority level, packet delay budget, packet error rate, averaging window, and maximum data burst rates. Now let's go to different 5QI value and associated characteristics defined by 3GPP in their specifications. So if you look at this table is for resource type GBR, guaranteed bit rate, and this is a 5QI value 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are the numbers. So these are the numbers which is defined in release 15. As maybe upcoming releases will have more value and all these parameters would be assigned. So let us take one example of a service which is a conventional voice. So conventional voice will be a GBR type, resource type of 5QI will be guaranteed bitrate. That means a bitrate would be guaranteed, and the priority level defined here is 20. And then what is the packet delay budget? So maximum delay allowed for a packet is 100 millisecond, and packet error rate here is 10 to the power minus 4, and default maximum data burst volume is not applicable, but as it is only for critical GBR kind of resources, and the averaging window is 2000 millisecond. So similarly, if you look at video, so these are the parameters. So the only difference is that the default priority level is 40 compared to conventional voice. So that means if it is an conventional voice, then priority is higher than the priority for a conventional video live streaming. So you can read other 5QI's value and its associated uh, characteristics. So let's go to the next type of resource and we take few examples there. So this is non-GBR resource type, and 5QI values are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. And if you just look at suppose it is a voice call, and then there will be a signaling associated with the voice call. So this example 5QI value 5 is for IMS signaling, that is for voice. So in that case default priority level is 10, and packet delay budget here is 100 millisecond, but the packet error rate is stringent, which is 10 to the power minus 6, and these two parameters are not required or not applicable in case of this. Similarly, so for video, which is buffered streaming, parameters are default priority level is 60, and 300 millisecond is the packet delay budget, and then 10 to the power minus 6 is the packet error rate, and these two parameters are not applicable. Now let us take example of IQI80. It is for low latency EMBB applications like augmented reality. So here the default priority level is 68, and but the packet delay budget is 10 milliseconds. So packet delay budget is stringent here, and the error rate which can be tolerated is 10 to the power minus 6, and these two parameters are not applicable. Now let us go to the third type of resource, which is critical delay critical guaranteed bit rate, and this is an example of any discrete automation. So here the priority level given is 19, delay is 10 seconds, very stringent, but packet error rate 10 to the power minus 4. Here default maximum data burst rate in all cases are defined, which is 255 bytes, and averaging window here is 2000 millisecond. So this is how 5QI values and its characteristics are assigned for different quality of service flows. So with this, we have come to the end of the session. So thank you very much, and I request you to subscribe the channel, share with your friends, and also click on the notification button. Thank you.